So, good afternoon. This is your last CME talk for the day, and we want to make it fun and applicable to you. So, I'm going to share this talk with Dr. Wegman. So, we are going to talk about food as medicine and the Ayurvedic Thali. You have been eating different components of Thali throughout your retreat here, but how the food combining happens, why the food is combined the way it is, and also how the cultural diversity of India, kind of plays a role into it. Ah, why can I move my slide? Okay, there you go. So again, being the same chair, I have to disclose I have no financial disclosures except that I love food. We all all we love food, right? We are here for the food. We live to eat. So, and I think we all grew up with this, right? So seeing the picture of thali, and that's a traditional way of eating it. So we are going to talk about food, and we want to start with the Om Shri Ganeshaya Nama. Ganeshi, the start of every event for good things to happen. So very good things are going to happen in your life since you came to the Vedic city and you attended this retreat, and hopefully you're going to bring some great things back with you. So a lot of things will be we are going to recapture and re-emphasize that you have been learning this week. So again, just the basic principles of Ayurveda and how it relates to food choices and combinations. And you have heard the word Agni, the digestive fire, a lot, and how that aids in our digestion. And then we will explore some options for menus based on various seasonal, personal constitution, taste, and lifestyle. That's why you had that little sheet this morning that was given to you to do your own dosha analysis, prakriti analysis. So just to recapture the Tri dosha, Vata is the energy of movement, Pitta is the energy of digestion or metabolism, and Kapha is the energy of structure and lubrication.
Okay, so we'll go into Vata dosha here. And we can go through this a little bit quickly because we've talked a little bit about Prakriti earlier today, about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and gravity superfields, gauge superfields, matter superfields from the language of physics, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha from the language of Ayurveda, but it's just this language of these principles that are governing certain parts of our physiology. So Vata dosha, lightest dosha, made up of space and air, primarily wind. So in the physiology, these are all the different things that Vata governs. So it's space and air, lightest, it's controlling movement in the body. So that's one thing. If you just remember one word from each of the doshas for Vata, movement, simple. The flow we can see of the blood from the heart, for example, expansion of the lungs, movement of breath, inhalation, exhalation, and also the movement of food from when it's received through the whole physiology. And I'll even go one step further to say, even just the thought of food, it's already begun, so when we contact it, that's like we're already halfway in the process. But just the thought of food with pranavata is already signaling all the enzymes and everything to get released. And then we know with the prakriti, we've talked a little bit this morning, but the main thing is that they're more slender built. They really have to work to maintain weight because it can go quickly. Very enthusiastic, imagination, vivacious when balanced. And we can see, just a lot of energy, love. They also love constant change. They want to be moving. What's the next thing? What's the next thing? They're already, if you're talking to them, there may be like 7 steps.
Is Candace here? I'm thinking of Candace.
Yeah. She's got some pitta also with their organization. They tend to have irregular eating and sleeping patterns because they're really fueled by wind alone. At some point they're like, oh, I should eat. But that's their just built-in prakriti. So that's fine for balance, but it's very easy out of all 3 doshas, it's very easy for Vata to go out of balance because it's the wind. It's very light, very quickly they go out of balance. How is that seen? This is the Vikriti. So going away from, see the Vikriti, The gunas of vata are like the wind, dry, light, clear, moving, cold, right? So if too much of those gunas are in the Vikriti, we see it in the dryness through the skin. Especially in winter, which is a vata season, the skin is just so dry. The lips are just dry. They have to maintain that value of oleation. Constipation, so dryness, even we see that in the colon. It's a tendency for constipation is there, tension, headaches, cold hands, cold feet because of that movement. So circulation is not the best. Movement we see too much in the mind, anxiety, worries, tension, which can also then lead to insomnia. I can't sleep. I just have so much in the mind, hard to fall asleep, for example. Poor and irregular appetite, sometimes hungry, sometimes not. Sometimes it's able to digest, sometimes not. So that sometimes quality of that irregularity we can see with also appetite. Insomnia, we've talked about arthritis, everything with the joints, the sandhis in the body, difficulty maintaining that ideal body weight. Vata is a constitution that's characterized by swift change, and as a result, goes out of balance very easily compared to the other doshas. The good news is easy to come back into balance because it's so easy, light and quick like that. Goes out of balance easily, but comes back also easily. And there's also a kind of a general rule, because sometimes people might feel, oh, there's so much with Ayurveda, like you have to do this and this. One simple rule, because we all have Vata dosha, is if you don't know what you are, the easiest thing is to just take care of Vata dosha. There's a verse from the Samhitas that says, Pitta and Kapha are without, it says lame, meaning without that energy, like Vata. So just Vata coming back into balance pulls Pitta into balance, pulls Kapha into balance. So it has that royal dosha, king dosha, queen dosha to come back into balance like that. So that is this Vikriti for Vata. So for Pitta,
Just once, sorry.
yes,
The first word said ether, and so
it's like
ether,
space.
Space.
signifies space
Like
in this
akasha.
context.
Yeah, that's right. It's always hard with language, like akasha is very different from ether, just the feeling of that. Prasadatu, very different from plasma. It's a closest English equivalent, but akasha is that expanse of space, ether. So
Thank you.
Chris. So we have Pitta dosha, we've talked about. Pitta is mainly fire and water, but fire is the predominant guna for Pitta dosha. So that means that in the physiology, it's mainly responsible for metabolism, for digestion, for transformation, and it regulates that appetite. They're usually medium everything. They typically have blonde, red, light brown hair, freckled or ruddy skin, but we can even see that in terms of the skin color, there's just a ruddiness that comes through. This is the basic Pitta constitution. The basic theme is intensity. You can feel that in their vision when they're looking at you, really intense. They're very much present with you, very, very dynamic as well. So the Prakriti we've talked about, in terms of these, beautiful descriptions, they're very ambitious. Somebody said type A, I think at lunch. Ambitious, self-disciplined, enterprising, articulate, intelligent, and outspoken. Very measured, precise language. When they're talking, they mean what they say. Percentages, stats. They love tables and organization. When in balance, and that's very important, they're very warm, very loving, very, very nice to be around. When out of balance, they can be a little bit sarcastic, critical, argumentative, jealous, like that fire principle comes out either anger or jealousy, those kinds of ways.
You probably know someone in your life who's like that. I think we all do. So,
Unlike,
and all of these, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, yeah.
unlike
Yeah.
Vata types, Pitta's experience intense hunger. They cannot skip a meal. They cannot. A Vata person, you can ask, oh yeah,
When did you eat?
when did you, I don't even know. I should probably
Eat.
I should probably thank you for reminding me. Did you drink something? Oh, that's a great point also. I should also drink something. They're just in the flow of the next thing. Like that is not a Pitta person. A Pitta person's, I need to go eat. And then we can talk. Like food first, because it's that fire principle, right? So really honor the fire of a Pitta person. When I was giving my dissertation defense initial proposal, I made sure that it was after some snacks. And I brought rose water, like everything cooling and nourishing. You can use it, to your benefit also, all of this. Vikriti, when out of balance, so the gunas of Pitta are more of that hot, sharp, slightly unctuous fluid quality because it's fire and water. When out of balance, you can see that heat come out through different ways, through the skin. So any kind of rashes through the skin, any like hives, any inflammatory skin diseases.
Sweat.
Yeah, heartburn, peptic ulcers, visual problems, irritability, premature graying, baldness, tendency towards compulsive behavior, alcoholism, eating disorders. There's a tendency for perfectionism with Pitta. There's also a competition, with Pitta, and that can be healthy competition, but then it can also go out of balance where it's too driven to the point of not respecting their own self and their own parameters. So Pitta governs the skin, it governs the emotional heart, it also governs the liver, the eyes, and all of these. Yes. Does someone have a question?
Most of the physicians must be Pitta.
Yes, they are.
There's
They are.
definitely Pitta.
Yes.
So plus something else.
Yes, Pitta plus something else. Yes. Yes.
So, and then we come to Kapha dosha. And one thing, with Kapha dosha, this is the heaviest dosha, made of water and earth, mainly earth. And so this.
It is a bad dosha.
No. You need kapha people
Well,
in your life.
that's the one thing.
People think it's bad. Yeah.
Kapha is just, it gets a very bad reputation.
Think of it.
I analyzed it.
Think of an elephant. Think of an elephant. How beautiful that is. We need those.
Structure.
I
And
don't
that's
think it's fast.
This controls the structure of the body. It gives it strength in physical form to all aspects of the physiology from the cells onwards. Kapha types are solid, they're powerfully built, they display great physical strength and endurance. And the primary characteristic is that of contentment. They're just happy, they're easygoing. Yeah, this happens, what can you do? You just move on.
Yeah.
Prakriti is the kaphas are relaxed. See how beautiful, relaxed, affectionate, serene, slow to anger, forgiving, happy with the status quo, respectful of the feelings of others. They tend to require lots of sleep. They have slower digestion, moderate hunger, though they find comfort to eating for sure, but the appetite, that Agni, is not so much there because it's more of that earth principle that's there. And knowing this is also helpful. So that person needs more rest, right? So you can even think of family members for Vata or Pitta, in the overlap. Some might need to rest more. And if they're not getting that, then this can, for Kapha, it can lead to a little bit more depression, lethargy. So when out of balance, that Kapha type usually has good immunity, solid endurance, but they can become a little bit more obese, more often than Vata and Pitta. And when out of balance, they experience colds, flus, allergies, sinus congestion. Kapha really is governing from the chest and above. So everything related to the respiratory, congestion, we can see depression, lethargy, asthma, as well as joint issues. Here we can see the main sites of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And just in one word, the main seat of Vata is below, from the navel below. So mainly the colon. The main seat of Pitta is from navel to like just this mid-level, we can say small intestine. And the main seat, this is where Jataragni is. And the main seat of Kapha is the chest, but it's really from the chest and above to the head. So from that, these are all the supporting kinds of sites of Vata, the sites of Pitta, and the sites of Kapha.
What's the practical meaning of those?
Right, excellent question. The practical meaning is, we know, like we were just saying with the lungs, Kapha is helping with the lungs. So when Kapha is out of balance, there's some respiratory conditions, congestions, asthma, sinus congestion, head pressure. So then for the treatment approach to that, we can address specific things to balance Kapha. always in relationship to who it is. So, for example, if it's a kapha more prakriti, and the vikriti is also kapha, like it's a kapha prakriti with some massive congestion issues, respiratory problems, then we can really target it and personalize it in a lot of ways. And the same thing for a vata person, there might be a tendency for constipation,
Joint pains.
or diarrhea, like just, it's not regular in any way. For a pitta person, we were saying when out of balance, that ulcers,
Reflux, IBS.
like that. So you can kind of, as soon as a person is telling you constipation, okay, that's a vata, it's coming under the vata umbrella. This is coming under the pitta umbrella, coming under the kapha umbrella, like that. And then you always have the person and the imbalance, right? So if the imbalance and the person are the same, then you kind of know a little bit more targeted measures on how to come back into balance for them. So this is that prakriti and vikriti. Any imbalance between the doshas, we call vikriti, and this means deviated from nature, going away from that value of nature. And then according to the Ayurvedic principles, everyone's diet should also be suited to their prakriti. So who you are, the diet should also help strengthen that. During times of vikriti or imbalance, the diet can be used to either decrease or increase the three doshas until balance is restored. So to your question, for example, for that person, maybe a kapha balancing diet is going to be helpful to reduce that heaviness and congestion. So avoid dairy, avoid bananas, avoid avocado, avoid any kind of cheese. Instead, have this instead. Things that are a little bit lighter, things that are a little bit drier to help balance that. So you can use diet always in relationship to that individual's prakriti and their vikriti.
So what we were giving Dr. Amit Chakravarti yesterday was ginger. So literally, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, so he called me, he said, can you bring me some throat lozenges? And I said, you are right there. You need to take honey and ginger. So he said, texted me, he said, I'm taking honey and ginger. Okay. Yep, it's yeah, go ahead. Last one.
So the dosha balancing effect of food is determined by its taste, either salty, sour, sweet, bitter, pungent, stringent, and its other qualities, heavy, oily, cold, hot, light, or dry. So these are the 6 tastes, the shad rasas, and each of these, we won't go into too much, but salty, sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, astringent. Each of those tastes are made up of 2 of the 5 gunas, right? So then it becomes kind of like this Ayurvedic map. For example, sweet taste is made up of earth and water. What else is made up of earth and water is kapha dosha. It's the heaviest dosha. The sweet taste is the heaviest taste. And people get really excited about sweet. They're like, oh, I got sweet. I can do a sweet taste, but we don't mean pies or cakes or all of the delicious Diwali sweets. It's not that kind of sweet. The sweet that we're talking about, we can find in carrots, we can find in rice. It's like the balanced sweet, not sweet on some steroids or something like that. So like that, each of the tastes have a different proportion of the guna, of the pancha mahabhutas. So certain tastes can aggravate the dosha, certain tastes can balance the dosha. So combining the tastes in a certain way is helping balance that prakriti and vikriti like that.
Seasonal variations.
Yes. And so we just touched on Ritucharya this morning, and we were saying that summer is that quality of summer, not just the hot, but there's also a sharpness, there's also a brightness, and this is more of a pitta season. So when we say that it's a pitta season, then we know pitta is the fire predominant dosha, and we can see if pitta, can get aggravated in the summer, especially for a pitta prakriti. So sunburn, hot flushes, acne, diarrhea, exhaustion, even like just they're overheated. They can be like more irritability. It's just like so much heat outside and inside. Hatred. For the season we're in right now in Iowa is winter. So the qualities of winter: dry, light, cold, clear, windy. This is more of a vata season. And these are the different expressions of imbalance that might be more prominent in this season. And especially if a person is vata, these are the things that they can do for prevention, you know, so just good oleation, like some of you are experiencing, because otherwise there could be aches, pains, more dryness, you know, joint problems. But even at the level of psychology, like we were saying, hatred, anger for pitta, we see more fear, anxiety, even loneliness can be seen for vata. So even like the seasonal depression, you know, all of those, we see that also in Ayurveda. Spring, heavy, cold, damp. This is more the kapha season. And I just want to show you, they both have cold, right? Vata has cold, kapha has cold, but it's two different kinds of cold. The cold of vata is like bone chilling. If you're walking in like the tundra, or just it's just going into your bones, and you're like, I can't get warm enough. You know, it's deep in your body. The cold of spring is like if you put your hands in the earth when you're just gardening in the spring. It's that damp, cold, moist kind of quality. So that's that kapha kind of cold. So with that, we see the imbalances that can come up in those seasons a bit more. Cough, cold, sinus, congestion. Again, we said chest up is kaphastan, or the seat of kapha. And in terms of the emotions and mind, there can be maybe attachment or greed, you know, just wanting more, kind of that feeling. Because the opposite of that is giving, which is balanced kapha. Generosity, like Santa Claus, just like happy, joyful, giving, kind of jolly nature. This is the attachment. No, I want to like keep it in. A little bit of like that hoarding tendency can be seen for kapha.
Thank you. Thank you, Shankari. So I think we already talked about that is diet is the one of the key things in Ayurveda to maintain and to restore the dosha balance. And everyone's diet should be suited to Prakriti. We talked about that. And we can use the diet to balance the Vikriti and bring people back in balance. And the good thing about Ayurveda is that it does not really limit the quantity or the variety of food that people can eat. So it's not likely to be deficient in nutrients. I would say, I think protein, personally, it's a concern at times for me and for patients about protein and how to get, you know, vegetarian protein through Ayurvedic diet. So good things are available now in, you know, health food store. There's a lot of advancement in food and nutrition.
And the proteins you suggest for vegetarians like me?
Yeah. So quinoa is very high in protein. Protein content is almost equal to meat. Millet and amaranth is high in protein. Also suggest if you can eat soy-based protein, a lot of soy-based protein are there, tofu. I suggest that. The lentils have protein, but they also have carbs. So, you know, to balance that. And then,
I take
that's fat. That's good fat. That's avocado is good fat. That's
pea protein.
ragi, huh?
Take pea protein.
Pea protein. That's fine.
Very good pea.
Yeah, so pea protein.
Without much of a
Yeah.
impurities.
Yes, I take pea protein too. So I take protein powder.
Plant one, yeah.
Okay. Yes. What else people do for vegetarian protein?
But you know, so
Chickpeas, yes. Chickpea lentils.
to be very fresh.
Yeah.
If you want to eat. Old tofu, you keep it and buy it from
Yeah.
store shelf. Keep it in the house.
Yes. I've recently learned. Huh?
Whey protein.
Whey protein. Ayurveda does not restrict milk. A lot of people don't like to drink milk. Whey protein is fine too. Yes. Yeah.
What's the role of milk in plus or minus weight in Ayurveda?
It is
Yeah,
strong.
it's very, very nourishing to the body. Milk is always boiled, so it's never cold milk. So sometimes you'll see, you know, maybe patients might come in, I can't drink milk, I have these allergies, congestion, but they might be drinking cold milk. Cold milk, one of the gunas we said in the beginning, you have the 6 tastes and then hot, cold, light, oily, like that. Boiled milk takes the reduces the kapha heaviness in the milk. It makes it more digestible. If you just have cold milk from the fridge and you drink
Yeah.
it, that's like very congestive, you know, and it's not getting absorbed properly. So boiled
I know,
milk, which we
I
know
know.
with like some like, you know, haldi doodh,
Yeah.
just put some, you know, haldi, a little bit of black pepper,
Yeah.
saffron, like everything that we grew up with,
Yeah.
you know, that is a different quality of milk, and it's linked to ojas, which is the opposite of ama, which we'll talk about, but milk is very much recommended.
Yeah.
If you can digest the cold milk, is it okay?
It depends on which prakriti. So the person who can digest that cold milk will have some pitta for sure if they're if they're able to digest it. That you won't hear that from
Inorganic.
organic, 100% organic.
Lactose free.
Yeah, lactose free.
Yeah.
Having a cow outside just milking it, I mean, as much organic
Yeah.
as you can.
I've
Actually, Ayurvedic food habits, it says that you boil the water and keep it little warm water.
Mhm.
Keep sipping
Yes.
every few minutes or every hour. That water is better than
Cold water
drinking cold
or
water.
ice cold water.
Yeah,
Yes.
always hot,
Yeah,
warm.
yeah, yeah. I have a quick funny story about the milk in 1986 when I came here earlier and then went back. But I did some residency interviews. So my brother, who was here studying, I was having breakfast with the program director, and he gives me one advice. He says, "Arti, when you go there, don't ask for hot milk for your cereal."
Milk is not pasteurized in India. That's why
Yeah.
we boil.
Uh-huh.
Because here, everyone drinks cold milk.
But no, that's
Even in
yes,
India, my
yeah.
dear, you are mistaken. If you
I'm
buy
just
the
making a general
milk
statement.
right from the cow or the guy who's taking
It's
the
warm.
milk out,
Mhm.
that is okay. Otherwise, milk is pasteurized every part of the world.
It's
No,
also
but
the,
pasteurized milk is
Yes.
different. There is a cold milk, hot milk, or pasteurized,
yeah, so
which is warmed for prolonged period of time.
yeah, it's still boil. It's putting it in the fridge though has that coldness to it,
Yeah.
So we want to boil
Yeah.
the milk and with the spices. That's why spices are its own pharmacopoeia of different things. You can take that milk and you can put haldi, pepper. That's one. You could put it with cardamom. Some. It depends on who that person is for. You can give milk as. You can give it with gritam like brahmi ghee, for example, with the milk at night. Excellent for sleep, good for memory, things like that. So there's so many different things, but the milk boiled is a little bit more
Digestible.
digestible.
And since we're talking about milk, have you guys heard of A2 milk?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
The Jersey cow milk,
So A2 milk has the A2 casein protein versus A1, which is more chronic disease,
more inflammation.
inflammatory. Yes. So the milk that you are getting.
No, the milk which we buy from the.
No, because A2 milk comes with, it says A2 milk, it comes from those cows. So the milk that you're drinking here is A2 milk.
Where do you get them in the market? It's not available.
It's available at
It's
Costco.
available.
Costco now has A2 milk.
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. Yes. Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Mhm.
See, we don't have Costco, does Walmart sell?
Yeah, they don't have A2 milk and it's organic
Yeah.
also. Because they put so many steroids, all of these
Yes.
things. You don't want that.
Yeah.
To the cows.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we all know about Annapurna, Goddess Annapurna, right? We have the MIU, the cafeteria is called the Annapurna Cafe. And when we were growing up and we heard about Annapurna, but Annapurna is just, as you know, is the goddess, is an avatar of Parvati. And we say that she has the ability to provide as much food as is necessary. So you say my mom's kitchen is Annapurna's kitchen. There's always food available. And she was specifically asked, Shiva to come to Earth in response to food shortage. So her name is basically Annapurna, means full of food. And coming to bringing Annapurna to kitchen, I want to share this. I was a home delivery. So I was born at my Nana Nani's house in Kanpur by a doula. So I was very much attached to my home. Yes, you have a question? Okay. Die. So, and they would always come, and they will be available. But I spent a lot of time with my grandparents every summer. I'm sure many of you did. But there was a Maharajan who used to come, who used to cook, and Maharajan had the highest padvi in the house. So when she would come, Maharajan aaye hain, like you would have all sorts of respect for Maharajan. Maharajan would come, she will take a shower, she will change her clothes, then she will go into the kitchen, she will light the fire, and then she was like doing her stuff for 3 hours and making food. And the first thing would be, this is part of our culture, right? First roti is always goes to fire, right? It is actually dana, that's what you
Yeah.
give. So those are principles which we don't follow kind of anymore. But if you think about it, that's what the sattva of Ayurveda is, that bringing that spirituality into your kitchen, because food is spiritual, it is healing, it is nourishing. And we need to be mindful when we are cooking. We need to be thinking about the food. We need to be thinking about how this, food came from, where it came from, why it came from, what are we eating, and eating mindfully, and really honoring the tradition of food and the agriculture, people who have grown the food. And that's what mindfulness does in integrative medicine when we talk about how to respect food. And of course, the Atithi Devo Bhava, we all know that how we respect our guests, and we have grown up doing that. Having extra food in the kitchen always is the norm in India. So, moving a little bit about the spices, you all cook. I'm sure you all cook. Most Indian people cook. And the healing property of Ayurvedic food comes from the spices. So most of the Indian spices have healing properties. And typically when these spices and these Ayurvedic herbs are grown in traditional farms, Ayurvedic farms in India, where the good jari booty and herbs come, they are actually planted with the with shlokas. They're planted with shlokas, they're harvested with shlokas. So we say you talk to your plants. They're literally, you're talking to plants, you're putting that energy into those plants, and then you are thanking them and getting all of these spices. So most of the Ayurvedic spices, they come from bark, buds, fruits, seeds, root, stem of plants and trees. And you all know about them that you use in your cooking. But now start to pay more attention to these spices and herbs as you're cooking and thinking, I am putting a digestive jeera in my food, putting that intention, because jeera, cumin is digestive, coriander is digestive. So everything is used in Ayurveda, all parts of the herbs. Some of them are perennial plants, some of them are annual plants. We use the leaves, seeds, everything, bay leaves, cilantro, chive, basil, mint, and they all have those qualities that we see in the thali: the pungent, the spicy, the cooling, the sweet, the sour. Any plants can be used. I said here there are some aromatics which are used in Ayurvedic cooking. We don't use as much onion and garlic, but what you are seeing here, so there's no onion and garlic in the food here, but they use leek. Leek is allowed in Ayurveda. So leek is kind of a little bit sister brother of onion. So today that you had what was that you were liking? Gobi Manchurian, vegetable Manchurian. It had leek in it. I asked her, I said, there's something in it. She said, there's leeks in it.
Why is garlic not healthy? Why?
It's healthy, like everything has medicinal uses, for example. But in terms of if someone is following like a lifestyle for like more sattva qualities, those have a little bit more of a rajasic nature to it. So and like for rajas and
Tamasic.
garlic is more of that tamasic,
Yeah.
so garlic, onion has a little bit more of a spinning kind of quality, but it's medicinal also. So like for arthritis, for example, you can have thylums, oils made of that. You can have drops for the ear made of garlic. You can do certain things for respiratory stuff with garlic, but having it every day like that, it can create a little bit of those qualities in the mind.
I think
Heavy.
your question is very irrelevant, and I don't even know how to describe that and say this particular product has a tamasic quality. Like, you have some things which are spiritual, some are not so spiritual in a way. So people who are following a spiritual path, who are on a meditative path to achieve samadhi and all, they don't eat onion and garlic because it comes in the way of their spiritual connection.
That's right. So it's a little bit disturbing if you're on that spiritual path. You want everything, like what Dr. Hagelin was saying, just that clarity of the ability just to transcend and experience that, because the mind is then settling to that field. There's some
that this food caused those kind of thoughts. Where did that come from?
From tradition, 5,000-year-old sages tradition it came from.
And I think also
It's not even tradition. Garlic is known to be an aphrodisiac.
Yes.
They used to cook little haldi in the warm milk and give it.
And it's I think everyone should do an experiment, right? You can stop for 1 week, not eat onion and garlic, and see how you feel. Lot of things, change, your stomach changes, the way you think change. So we have done that very deliberately in our household, that we stopped eating onion garlic. We mostly eat sattvic food, but also, I mean, if there's food there, I mean, we will eat it, but we can tell the difference that, oh, I didn't feel good today. Why is this happening? I'm not sleeping well. So I think those changes you do see that. We are not recommending that you stop eating it, but I think you should give it a try and see how you feel.
But to answer his question,
Huh?
Yeah.
I think the Rajas, Sattvic and Tamas
Yeah.
are the qualities or food or I would say not qualities, but the effect it
Effect.
produces from that food. And there is a concept to it. I think, I'm sure there is a more
Yes.
detail, but I kind of something that his question was in one way like
Who decided that kind of a
which
thing?
is,
Yes.
I think it's more curiosity.
Curiosity, of
kind
course.
driven,
Of course,
which
yeah.
is there.
Yeah. Like certain foods in Ayurvedic diet or in Indian diet, we say this has heat producing quality, right? Like badam, almonds would have heat producing quality. So that's why you eat more of them in winter time.
It came from, like, Jains were there long time in India.
Uh,
They were not using garlic and
no.
onions.
Uh-huh.
So those things spread all over India. They were even in South India.
Mhm.
That's why you will see many Brahmins in South India not using the onion.
Mhm. You can get a Jain meal. Mhm.
Oh, yeah. So this also goes with the what I would say, the religious aspect.
Mhm.
This is why.
Yes, religious, spiritual. Yes, yes. So just, and we all know this since we cook, there are many different ways, 6 ways of using the Ayurvedic spices. You use them whole, you use them ground, you use them whole and dry roasted, which is like your garam masala. Then ground and dry roasted, which is also your crushed ground masala. And then you can do stir frying in oil or ghee, and then dry and stir fried in oil. So various ways. That's why people find Indian cooking very complicated. Yeah, it is very complicated. It is, people lot. Exactly. It is
from fresh.
fresh and it is intense. Time, yep, may painful.
consuming.
Yes, yeah, time consuming. So it's so hard to give recipes when I'm sure your colleague said, this is really good. Can you give me the recipe? And say, I can give you the recipe. You won't be able to make it. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, so this is with our digestive fire, which is known as Agni. This is that fire element that governs all transformation, and Dr. Shah this morning described beautifully that value and importance of Agni, and how we have Jata Agni, plus we have the 7 Dhatu Agnis, and then the Panchabhut Agnis. So there are 13 Agnis that are responsible for metabolism and physiology. So that's why you say it's governing all transformation. And the main function is digestion, absorption, assimilation, and that value of transformation of food and sensations into energy. That's the main goal, right? Is energy. So the energy that's there in the food that you're eating, that's what we really want, is the energy from that food for all of our daily actions. That's why we start with the highest quality of food, organic. We start with fresh, qualities, everything, like you said, freshly ground. We want the freshest possible. Why? Because it has that prana quality, that vibrating intelligence of nature. Now, that would be great if we say, yes, we know we have to eat healthy, all of those things. But you can eat healthy, but if your Agni is not strong, then that energy is not being fully absorbed and being created into the body that you have right now, right? So everything that we're eating, we want our Agni to be strong to be able to digest that and absorb it. So it's not just that we're eating healthy food. Are we able to absorb that healthy food? So there's that whole principle, you are what you eat. And then some people say you are what you digest. And I would actually say you are what you absorb, because you can eat something, but is it getting fully assimilated into your physiology? Life is not possible without Agni. We see that in terms of the sun in the external environment. It's not possible without that. Same thing with our Agni. And in Ayurveda, we say a person is as old as their Agni. If Agni is in optimal condition, then their immune system is also healthy.
So a lot of people, like when they're dying, they stop to eat, right? There's no Agni. They are not eating, right? And then slowly over a period of several weeks, people would pass away.
When it's robust, they can live a long, healthy life. And if it becomes slow and, sluggish, then the health also starts to deteriorate. This is really that vital fire that gets extinguished, and death then so follows. So this is from Dr. Ladd's creation about this understanding of Agni and digestion. So you have this pot, which represents the stomach. You have that aspect of the water. We had a beautiful lunch today. So we have the food. This is, the fire. The fire is responsible to help break that down into all of its components. The fuel is from yesterday's digested food that's there. And the fireplace, the place that all of this is taking place, is the small intestine. But also really important is the person who's doing all of this, the eater, the one who's organized everything. We can see that in terms of prana. So right here, you have three important principles. You have who is eating, right? You also have what they are eating, and you have this digestive process of how this food is now going to give energy and vitality to this person. Yes.
I have a question. So what's your recommendation for water? Some people say
Mhm.
don't drink any water for half an hour
Mhm.
after eating meal.
Mhm.
Some people say take a sip of water in between the bites. So do you have any recommendations?
So from Ayurveda, if you drink water, like a full glass of water after it's diluting that Agni value. It's important just to have water through the day also. But maybe a little bit before is fine. If you need a 1 or 2 sips, that's okay. But you just want to avoid heavy downing of a whole glass of water after the
But Dr. Wegman, I've also heard that the small sips of water
sips of
throughout the eating is good.
That's also
And I also I was not drinking water
Yeah.
before because I was very confused about what I'm supposed to do.
a little sip.
Yeah,
Okay.
you mentioned somewhere that there are 3 layers: air, water, and food.
Okay.
So you need to, for processing, if you just eat a large amount of food and we grasp air,
Uh-huh.
and there's no water,
Yeah.
then how will the churning process
Yep.
happen? So
Yeah.
that's why you need 1/3, 1/3,
One
1/3
third,
in
yeah.
the stomach. I mean,
That's right.
I don't know.
That's right.
The-
So you want to just,
Yeah.
and also eat slowly, because
Slowly,
if you
yes.
just load it on and we have
Yeah,
things to
that's
do,
a very
there's no
important.
space, there's no water.
Yes.
The
Yes.
digestive juices have to be well blended with
Yeah.
the food that we are eating.
I don't know if your parents did that. My father would make me sit and eat like 30 bites, like of something.
32 times my father would say you have to chew the food.
Yeah.
32 times
It
each.
seems to
Yep.
inhale it. It's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
it's gone. He's like, you're just sit and eat and suddenly-
Yeah.
Teeth. If you have less teeth, you choose.
Great point. So
Okay.
we're talking about
How many teeth they have.
let's come to we have this general principle of Agni, but then we also have functional states of Agni related to the 3 doshas. So for Vata dosha, typically this is known as Vishama Agni, meaning it's irregular in nature. So by its cold quality, Vata can decrease Agni because there's that wind element, the cold wind element. It can also kindle the Agni by the dry, light, mobile, subtle qualities. Vata can quickly slow Agni, but it can also kindle it, so that your variability is there in terms of digestion. So Vata, digestive fire, has an irregular nature to it. That means that this person sometimes has good appetite, sometimes not. Sometimes good digestion, sometimes not. So we really want to they really need to pay attention to how they're eating, where they're eating, the pace that they're eating, the foods that they're eating to help give some regularity. For Pitta, this Pitta Agni can both increase or decrease. Pitta can increase or decrease it. Agni affected by an increase of the hot and sharp qualities of Pitta is called sharp Agni or Tikshna Agni. However, if Pitta is increased by the liquid, because it's also fire and water, and it has a slight oily quality to it, it can lead to a Mandagni. So when Pitta is increased by the liquid quality, it becomes like hot water. Pouring hot water on a fire slows the fire, so Pitta can also slow the Agni. In general, Pitta Agni, it can be very sharp. People with strong Pitta have a very sharp digestion. They can eat a lot of food and then they suddenly metabolize it. Where did it even go? And they're hungry again. did you say your son? Because that's my son. Like,
It's
where
like
does it
little
go?
sound like.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like
You
you're
must
feeding
stop
Agni
that.
Dev, you know, just like constantly giving fire,
Yeah.
doing yagya.
Hmm.
Kapha dosha, this Agni is affected by Kapha. This is called Mandagni, slow or dull Agni, and it'll often produce long-standing effects, and it can be slow to return to balance. So
Okay.
slow digestive fire is going to take a bit longer to fully absorb. So for this Agni, you don't want to give it heavy foods. By heavy foods, what do we mean? Like heavy cheeses, heavy lasagna, like where you feel like, oh, you know,
Pizza.
it was very
Heavy
rich.
pizza,
You know,
yeah.
when we said that food was very rich, it's still sitting. That's great for this person. For this person, it's like I still feel it from 2 days ago when I went out to eat. That food was so, like, I don't know what oils they use, so rich, you know, that kind of experience. That Agni needs a different kind of food for proper
Yeah, no,
digestion.
it's okay. I'm just going to fast forward because I know people wanted to leave at 3.
Yes.
So let's just talk, since we heard that, you know, that's called ama in Ayurveda, collection of toxins. There are some improper eating habits, like overeating, eating too soon after full meal. Okay, everyone was by eating without hunger, eating improper food combinations. So there's some incompatible food combining in Ayurveda. So you can take a picture of this. Also, the slides will be there. You know, we don't say combine milk and yogurt. Beans shouldn't be combined with fruit, cheese, eggs, milk, yogurt, all of these hot drinks. You may have heard this from your parents and grandparents. Do not do this. You don't eat yogurt at night. Don't combine, you know, don't eat banana with your tea. Things like that. So these are, huh?
For sure.
Yes, yes. So these are incompatible food combining. So these are all affect our health. This is important. So we are going to go over this. How can you now, so that you are a Vata person, what are the things you're going to eat, what you're going to avoid? So let's just go over that and be done with this talk.
So for
Okay.
Vata, so Vata is the lightest dosha, right? So you would do the opposite to balance Vata. You would give foods that are a little bit heavier. These tastes, sour, salty, and sweet, are the heavier tastes. So you want to give foods in general that are these tastes. They also should be fresh, warm, grounding, unctuous meaning slightly, you know, nice ghee quality to it. It's lubricating this dry dosha. And in addition, they should only have well-cooked foods. Avoid dry foods. They already have dryness inside. It's coming
And
out.
in general, Ayurveda, we avoid raw foods.
In general, and also
This is for Vata.
Yes.
in general.
So raw
About
salads
balance,
are
and
not
especially if it's out of
like
Cooked
I don't
vegetables.
eat- I don't like salad.
Yeah, cooked food, steamed cooked vegetables. Yes. Yeah.
So in general, the bitter, pungent, astringent tastes, those are more heating or airy tastes. They're aggravating to Vata. So avoid too much of that. Then also anything light, dry, cold in quality. So what does that look like in terms of a meal? We'll go into, so for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, again, lunch as the main meal of the day. This is when there's a little bit more heavy foods that are there. Breakfast and dinner, it's more in that kapha time. So things that are a little bit lighter, a little bit more nourishing. So for Vata dosha, that can look like maybe some oatmeal, cooked oats, for example, apricots, berries, or you can have like a toast with something on it, with some warm milk. Or you can also do something like upma, porridge, milk porridge.
I loved I put
chai.
fettuccine Alfredo for lunch.
And
Ayurvedic food.
for dinner, you can have something like, you know, our sabji with some chapati, or you can see that also here, you know, any vegetable sabji with a little bit of
No rice, no rice.
You can also have rice,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but a little bit plain. The other thing is the quantity, right? Like, that's more like for lunchtime, it's a bit heavier.
saying, like, I thought you were non-vegetarian.
I mean, if someone is.
If someone is non-vegetarian, that's a putting.
If someone is non-vegetarian, it's better to have it at lunchtime than at
Yeah.
dinner time.
Is brown rice better than the white rice?
In general, like if it's more processed, anything less processed. is best.
Yeah.
Pita night.
Vata. You mean Vata diet side?
Yeah, we got.
Yeah. Okay.
So pitch.
What about the chicken on that list?
If somebody is vegetarian, we are saying that they can have chicken with lunchtime, heavier meat.
Any but non-vegetarian, it's better to have it at lunchtime. You know.
Yeah.
Continental diet and Ayurvedic diet was on the bottom.
Yes. So for Pitta, sweet, bitter, and astringent tastes are the best tastes for Pitta. What you want to avoid is pungent, salty, and sour. That's going to immediately increase Pitta. It already has a lot of fire. you're adding fire to fire like that. Not the best if you're wanting to have an even tempered kind of conversation. Just these tastes help to balance pitta. Also, any kind
For
of
example, I had 3 bowls of kheer last night. Sweet. I had 3 bowls of kheer last night. Sweet food, pitta. So thanks.
So we can go to the next slide. We
Yeah,
can
yeah,
give an
sure.
example of a menu.
Okay, great.
Okay,
Perfect.
so for menus, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anything that's a little bit heavier, we want to have, we're putting salad here because salad is actually heavy from Ayurveda because it's kind of raw. So if someone is wanting that, they're like, I can't live without my salad. It's better to have it at lunchtime. And then something like, vegetable stir fry with some tofu, basmati rice at dinner. A pitta person is going to want to eat a good solid food. They want a good breakfast, they want a good lunch, they want a good dinner. If not, they can wake up in the middle of the night. They didn't receive enough food, so the Agni Kali, they're getting woken up. So a good dinner is important, a good breakfast is important. These are just some options from Ayurveda, cream of wheat, oat milk, ghee. Ghee is one of the best oils for Pitta dosha. For Vata dosha, really all oils are okay. Even sesame, which is a little bit heating, is okay for Vata, and for Kapha.
What do you think about olive oil?
Olive oil, all oils are, for Pitta also, yeah. Olive oil.
And
So-
butter is no good?
Butter is not bad, but for a Pitta person, but ghee is much better.
Ghee is
Clarified.
More been clarified, yeah.
So,
When you're
you can't put it on toast.
You can put ghee on toast.
Put the ghee on.
It tastes very good. It tastes very good, actually. Yeah.
Ghee.
In allopathic medicine,
Yeah.
there are lots of randomized trial and data
Hmm.
which show the
Yes.
saturated fat
Correct.
increases this heart attack and
Mhm.
overall death and stroke. So ghee has 66% saturated
Correct.
fat.
But
Amazing.
still, ghee is supposed to be better
Much better.
than some of the
Better.
In moderation.
vegetable oils.
I agree with you. I'm in conflict with that myself about the cardiovascular benefits, even though some studies in Ayurveda have shown that eating ghee increases HDL, but juries is still out on that. So nobody, cardiologist or clinician also will agree to have more saturated fat. That's a conflict with Ayurveda. I agree.
It's also
I agree.
each as a person, just,
Yeah.
Just a small amount.
In balance, so not a lot. When-
It's thought to be the only fat that can
Yeah.
Dal mein, especially dal, protein, if you have to absorb your dal protein, you have to have ghee in it.
Yes.
Also,
Yes,
the-
yes, little bit. No.
Ghee is known as a vehicle. It's called Yogavahi, which means it's a chariot that helps all the other spices go through that blood-brain
Mhm.
barrier. So it's being received by all parts of the physiology.
Because of the fat cells, actually.
That's very butter.
Right. and-
Butter is not good, ghee is better.
Ghee is better. And it's
Ghee is not
yeah.
bad.
And so for Kapha dosha, my favorite dosha again, is the consumption of bitter, pungent, astringent taste. These are the lightest tastes, so it's reducing the heaviness of Kapha. So avoiding the sweet, sour, salty taste is really important, which are the heavier tastes. This is what a Kapha person might crave, Nobody's really craving a lot of astringent, kinds of foods, right? That's not, but they're craving this, but it's increasing the heaviness within.
Yeah.
So it's better to avoid that.
Mhm.
And specifically, all vegetables are great for Kapha dosha because they have a slow digestion. Things that have a little bit more spice, like ginger, should be eaten every day. So even a little bit of ginger, a splash of lemon juice, pinch of salt on it, taken before the meal, helps to kindle that digestive fire before they eat. And so although they can handle some meat is very heavy on the digestive fire. It should just be more occasional for a Kapha person and also at lunch when the Agni is a bit
ginger.
higher. And also
Great.
to avoid foods that are a bit heavier, oily in nature. So a menu might look like something like a cooked rice cereal with apples or pears, or even just stewed fruits, just some, simple fruits are fine steamed. From Ayurveda, rye is a bit of a lighter grain, or you can also do seasonal fruits, and breakfast tea is fine. Honey is also a great sweetener for Kapha. It has a lekana, meaning a scraping quality, so it helps scrape that heaviness. And honey in a tea should never be hot. Honey is never heated in Ayurveda, so we don't add it to hot tea. but you can add it if there's no steam coming, then adding a little bit of honey is okay. Lunch, again, main meal, some vegetable soup is okay. A little bit of green salad, like a tiny bit, because it's creating a little bit of dryness. That's okay for kapha. In Ayurveda, we'd say more like a corn tortilla, cornbread, cabbage sabji with mung khichdi, tofu, vegetable.
Want of carbohydrate.
No, all
I,
vegetables also.
well, you have to, some kind of diet you have to follow, right? You have to eat something.
That's right.
Okay, you want the corn and
B-
corn bread and dal is full of carbohydrate.
And it doesn't have
Yes,
to be a huge amount.
It doesn't,
You
yeah,
know, just a
yeah.
small, even in a plate, you want to see how much is vegetables, for a kapha person, you don't need that much carbs.
This is on a
For
menu.
sure.
You can choose, pick, and work with your patients or yourself and say, okay, yeah, we can cut here. This is just a sample. Okay, I don't need to talk about that. We all know that Ayurvedic cooking is wonderful. Indian food is amazing. Okay. Khichdi. Yes, we definitely need to talk about khichdi. So, and we grew up with khichdi when we were like sick. We would be sick. We would eating khichdi. So we always related khichdi to being sick, right? And then you say Ayurveda khichdi is the best, ever food, highly digestible, and that's the, food of, and Panchkarma too. So khichdi is basically it's a seasoned mix of basmati rice and moong dal is the preferred dal for that, and it has a sweet and cooling effect. And easy to digest. It's cooked in ghee, or you can put ghee on top. It is used in Panchakarma. It is good for detox, and the recommendation is for 2 parts of rice and 1 part of dal. Sometimes I put more dal in it. My husband always wants more dal, but so maybe I'm doing a
I
wrong
put
mix.
equal amount.
You put equal. I sometimes do equal amounts. My husband doesn't like khichdi. I love khichdi. My kids love khichdi, and of course done with ghee and clarified butter. So that's about khichdi. So what else do you want to know about khichdi? Then the other part is about ghee, because they make ghee here. That's one of the things we teach fellows, how to make ghee, good quality, high quality ghee. So what is the question about khichdi? Can you put vegetables in the khichdi? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
You can put vegetable mix in the store.
What is it? You can find
Yeah,
khichdi.
store here.
Uh-huh.
So what is the different ingredient?
The
For khichdi,
spices. The difference in
kapha.
the spices. The kapha digests,
Yes.
the pitta digests, and the vata digests. It's the difference in the spices.
That's right.
So the pitta digests,
Yes.
that would be fennel seed, that kind of calming.
Ginger.
Oh, so the churna.
Not the sure.
Making the churna? Yeah.
And that's the difference. I mean, the grains would be same,
Yeah.
but the masala will be.
Masala is true.
So those churnas you recommend we buy them?
It's
No,
you
and
can
you-
the churna is just a spice mixture. They have all 6 tastes. So they have sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, astringent for vata, for pitta, and kapha. But the ratio of the spices will be more tailored to help balance vata, help balance pitta, help balance kapha. If we don't get all 6 tastes, we're craving for something. You might have a meal, but then you're like, I don't know what I want, because some taste hasn't been nourished. So a churna helps you feel satisfied without aggravating that particular dosha. So like Dr. Amit was saying, it's the spices that are in there that are tailored to balance each of the doshas.
But two spices are basic, which is your saffrotida, hing, and cumin.
And turmeric.
And turmeric. Yes.
Should we buy them here, take them?
I mean,
Up to
sure,
you.
but I would also.
When your body like craves something, should you be listening to your body? It says, I want something salty.
Such a good question. I would love to answer this question. So the question was about cravings. If you have a craving, should you listen to your body? So it depends on the craving. Craving is giving a great indication to what's going on inside, right? I can have a craving for chocolate and why.
Hey, today you had a craving for gulab jamun. So,
did.
okay,
It's
so
delicious. But like
Okay.
say for example, I have a craving for chocolate. I want a hot fudgy chocolate lava cake that's drizzled with chocolate and chocolate. Let's just say that. For example, let's just say that, right? What that's indicating is if we go beyond like one step back, why is that craving coming? So there's a desire for something sweet. There's a desire for something warm. There's a desire for something kind of heavy, right? So somebody said kapha, exactly. So that kapha is the desire, So maybe the body has too much vata. I can't imagine, but just imagine there's too much vata. The person has a lot of energy, excitement. The body's saying, we need to just ground, so some heaviness would be helpful. So instead of like chocolate cake, for example, you can say, oh, maybe something like kheer is going to be a bit more able to be absorbed by the physiology. Some rice pudding gives the heavy taste, it gives the sweet taste, warm, boiled, cooked, all of that. That's very different from a hot lava cake, for example. So to answer, we always want to think about cravings as to where they're coming from. For a pitta person, you can see some people who say, I can't tolerate spices, it's too much. I get this acid reflux, or, I don't feel that great. And they have a pitta predominance, there's too much heat. That same pitta person, that's more in the line of balance. There could be a pitta person who's like, I don't really feel good, but I'm going to eat. I love spicy foods. I can't give it up. I'm just going to deal with the
Heartburn,
acid
reflux, yeah.
That's not the best. That's kind of indicating that we're kind of going out of balance. So a craving can always give an indication as to where it's coming from. And then we think, is that food that I'm picking up, it could be whatever in the environment, is that the best food? Is that the best thing? Or is there an alternative that's helping with, like, for example, with the chocolate cake that's warm, heavy, sweet, and grounding? So it's always good to look at the why behind the craving, and then it gives an indication as to how the body is doing.
The body's deficient in that product, that's what you're asking for.
It could, exactly. It could also be in like,
Imbalance.
needing that a little bit more,
Yeah.
but always in the line of balance and imbalance, and always in the line of that person's prakriti.
So what about piece of dark chocolate and not the lava?
Absolutely. This works very well. When you have a craving for a sweet food, take highly dark chocolate and take a small piece of it. Your craving goes down. I tell all my patients, I do it too, and I didn't have dark chocolate yesterday.
And the other thing is, it's also all about enjoyment, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Very
if
good.
you're craving that, just to have maybe a small bit and then just like savor it.
Yes,
rather
savor
than,
it.
like,
Exactly.
just one small
Yeah.
bit, and just close your eyes. Like, do you smell it? Do you see it with your mind's eye? Can you taste it? Savoring it is also a beautiful way of like being in the moment with
You're
it and
respecting the
honoring it,
food.
because it's all about joy also.
Yes.
So
Okay.
one more, you didn't mention hing anywhere.
Yes, today we didn't, but I just said that that hing is very typical. It has to be put in khichdi. Hing for for its digestive power. Lot of Ayurvedic cooking has hing in it. Is that correct?
Because
Yes.
spices, it was not there.
Yes, sorry, missed it.
Lots of
Can I say-
happens.
Yes, yes.
Lots of
Is there
taste.
Ayurvedic treatments?
For
After the
which?
COVID vaccine, that
Yeah.
happened
Yeah, lots of taste, lots of taste.
Oh
lots
yes,
of
taste.
smell.
Yes, taste of smell.
Yeah, there's different things that you can do to kind of do a detox, like amapachana, and then kind of like a reintroduction of certain tastes. And people have noticed that with smell as well as taste, that it can slowly come back, So light digestible foods, having all 6 tastes, even if it's not being received,
Almost done.
tasted here, it's still being received in the body.
Okay, so here's this last slide. Give me a second. This is a test. Okay, its answers are all on this slide, but this is a test. So in an Ayurvedic thali, what is a thali and why do we have different kinds of food and what are their qualities? So let's just go over that. How about rice? Okay,
Very important, because if we want to get all 8 amino acids, we
okay,
have to have rice to combine with the dal or the lentils or the beans in order to get our complete
So
protein.
nice.
Wow.
okay, okay. Thank you. All right. Okay.
I need the degree of MD and
But the reason I'm showing this picture is like really to show the diversity of Ayurvedic food and the taste and qualities and the guna that they carry. Because a typical food, we don't eat like this in America, in our Indian food that we make for dinner or lunch. We don't eat like this. But we probably used to eat like that when we were growing up and we had other people cooking, our mothers and grandmothers. And so every day you have rice rice, you have dal, you have yogurt, you have raita, you have little chutney, you have sweet and sour chutney, you have, some other vegetables, you have 2 or 3 different kinds of vegetables, and then you eat the sweet. So it's basically just showing that there's matha there too, which is the salty lassi. So it just kind of brings everything together that we have talked about, that a balanced Ayurvedic meal has all of these qualities and taste to balance
All the nutrients.
all the nutrients.
Amino acids, all of them.
Okay, thank you. We are done for the day. Uh-huh. Thank you so much.